I love painting these little hand-painted decorations every year for the Lily Bean Designs shop. I love just being able to do whatever inspires me, whatever calls to me that year. And so each individual Christmas decoration is completely and utterly unique. So I thought for this little paint along with me session, we might make our own Christmas decorations. So you'll need some kind of disc, wooden shape. I got these from Bunnings. They're about $1 each. I think they're about 10 centimeters in diameter. You can buy proper wooden Christmas decorations on Etsy, some craft shops, that kind of thing. So some kind of base for your ornament. You'll need a drill or some kind of instrument to push a hole or put a hole through your disc if it doesn't already have one. You also need paint, Posca pens, other kinds of materials used to decorate your discs. You can free draw your designs, but you can also use little cookie cutters that you can trace around as a easier way of getting the shape that you want. Drill your hole just a little bit from the top, any top, doesn't matter where. Peel off the price sticker and paint the back black. So my plan at this stage is that I'm going to do 3 ornaments, 2 with the Christmas tree painting on it and 1 with just a simple Christmas wreath. As I said, you can do anything you want. There's no limit whatsoever to the designs that you make. You could even print off pictures of your family and stick them on there and decorate them and that kind of stuff, which would be kind of cute. And maybe we'll explore that in another session. But anyway, I'm just going to keep it simple today. So I'm going to use one of my decorations that I sell in the shop as a to trace around for one of my Christmas trees. And you can just sort of see the outline there. And for the other Christmas tree, I'm going to use this cookie cutter. And the wreath one, I don't need to really do anything to just yet. Okay, so I'm just going to paint the backgrounds of these. For the wreath, I'm going to go with a sort of darker Payne's grey, not a black, not true black. One of the Christmas trees, I'm absolutely going to do green. The other one, I think I'm going to paint pink, because why not? And then I need to think about backgrounds for them, but I'll let you know as I get along. So I've decided that I'm going to, with the pink Christmas tree, I'm actually going to use a French blue, which is a really pretty blue. But for this second Christmas tree, the one that I did from the cookie cutter, I'm actually going to make it into a bit of a wintry Christmas tree scene. So just going to put in some like snowdrifts type things. And it's going to have lots of baubles, so bright baubles, maybe gold, yellow, don't know. That one I'll decide as I get closer to it. So it'll become like a little Christmas scene. But we'll get to that. Anyway, I'm going to paint this one first and then I'll get into that one. Okay, to do this one, I need some white, and I'll just use, I've got a heap of leftover Payne's grey, so I'll use it instead of black. And is it going to be a sunny day or is it going to be a wintry grey day? I think it depends what blue or grey I find first. Maybe we'll try this blue. I'm not sure. This might be too bright or it might not translate very well. We'll see. This is a Jo Sonja paint. Okay. We might start with the sky first just to see whether it's any, if we like it. Oh, I don't mind that. It's a bit dark, but not quite what I had imagined, but I quite like that. You'll probably find that you may need to go over some bits twice depending on the paint that you're using. The Jo Sonja brand is really good because it's actually, wow, I don't know if it was made specifically for the sort of folk art type thing, but I remember my mum using this brand when I was a kid when she was doing all her folk art stuff, and the coverage over wood was really, really good. I'm not going to worry too much about being super neat on the lines, but definitely some of the more translucent paints that I've got, like the Kaiser Craft or the Kaiser Color brand, I will have to do maybe 3 times sometimes, I find, when I'm doing the decorations normally. I quite like that. It's like a midnight, not a midnight sky because obviously they'll be dark, but like a night sky. With the snow drifts, I'm going to mix a little bit of the Payne's grey in with sort of the background to make it a darker grey. Gives it a little bit of depth. I'm sort of smooshing the brush in a little bit. Kind of gives a little bit of texture, which I kind of like. I also got blue still on my paintbrush, which I don't mind. It can get in there and get some more white and just maybe go on the tops. And a bit around. There's nothing really precise or perfect about this. Which I like. I'm not a precise perfect. Mostly not a precise perfect kind of person. I can't say always. Sometimes I am. I think there's probably a bit too much blue left on my paintbrush on that one. So it's better. this bottom one, or the next sort of layer, it's going to be more white than grey, but still have a bit of grey in it. Okay, I think that's okay. So while I wait for that to dry, I'm going to go back and redo the backgrounds of these two, and I'm going to do the sides in the same color as the front. So I have this little book that I keep near my desk. It's kind of a journal, but also I just put my leftover paint when I have it into it, so that so I don't waste it and I can use it for a journal page later on. So I'm just going to put the leftover Payne's Grey in here. Also, what I'm going to do is use this as a test for my green, to see which green, I've got quite a few greens, so to see which green actually stands out the most against it, rather than doing it on the actual disc. So I've got a little test palette, but I'll just get off the excess paint. There's nothing, nothing I hate more than wasting paint, to be honest. It's one of those pet peeves. Actually, it comes from when we were super poor when we first moved home, and we had one kid, one on the way, and Mac went back to do his electrical apprenticeship. And anyone who knows anything about apprentices in Australia, adult apprentices don't get paid very much. So paint and wasting paint was sacrilege. So I guess it's a hangover from that. I still don't, you know, I like repurposing. I hate waste. So just sticking the colours in my little book really helps me feel that I'm not wasting it. So I've got a couple of different types of green, and I'm just going to find my paintbrush I want. I guess little testers. No, that one might do. So I've got one that's green grass. Okay, I like that one, but I'm probably going to have to do 2 coats of that one, just because it is one of the translucent ones. I've got this green one, which I can't even think of how I might pronounce that, so I'm not. You can just see. Although it's a pretty shade, I don't think that's going to translate. I don't know. Can we see that? You can't see it, but it may, this colour may be the green I use for this Christmas tree. So that's a maybe on a different one. I think this one, this is a grass. Isn't that interesting? Green grass and grass green, 2 very different colours by 2 very different companies. But I think I can pretty much say this one's going to be too dark too. Yep. But actually that might be a nicer one. So we might go that one and get rid of the other one. Okay, we've got this one, which is a pretty colour. It's more blue though, but it does stand out. Might be able to use it as an accent. Thoughts. Food for thought. Got jade. That one works. Which one do I think I like? The bluer one, and then we've got pale olive, this is one of my favorite paint colors to use at the moment. But I was only going to go 2 colors, but maybe I could do 3. Oh, that's very similar. Okay, we might just play that one by ear. But you can see the way, the differences and the way they all stand out. Anyway, put that to the side. Okay, so I've just used this jar that I had lying around just to trace a circle on my wreath one, and I've used a white uniball pen. I'm not too worried about the fact that I've done I made a mistake the first time around because the paint should cover it, but if not, I can just go back in with my dark grey, my Payne's grey, and cover it up, so I'm not too stressed about that. Also, I've gone around my Christmas tree again, just so that I could tell here that I'd cut off a little bit of the Christmas tree. So I'm going to paint this one now, and I'm also going to paint this Christmas tree, and I decided to go with the grass green, not the green grass, for it. And for the Christmas tree, this Christmas tree, I'm using this magenta, light magenta colour, because they go really well together. Anyway. Okay, I'm going to let these dry properly before I do the next layer of them. And I'm going to start working on my Christmas wreath. Okay, so I've got my, I'm going to use the jade, if I can open it. And what's this one? The grass green, not the green grass. Okay, and I'm just going to use the one brush, and let's see, I'll start from the bottom, and basically I just load up my brush and just make little shapes. Make sure there's quite a bit of paint on your brush. And stop there, and then we'll go the other way. Okay. Now, because I've used a lot of paint, I don't know that I'll have to go over it so much, but I'm just sort of touching up. Okay. Then I'm going to use my other colour, and where do I start? Here. And just do fill it in a little bit. This is a very simple sort of wreath vibe. just filling in where I didn't go with the other colour. It doesn't matter if you pick up paint from the other bits and pieces, from the other leaves. Oh, what am I doing? Stop talking. This is where I get confused sometimes, because I struggle anyway with my left and rights, but directions, verticals, horizontals, that kind of stuff can really muck me up. So you can see here I've done a little, not quite, where's that? We'll go over with that, but it's easy to fix. And also this medium is really forgiving. You can actually come in with a bit of water and just sort of scrub it off if you need to. Okay, now I think what I'm going to do is come in with a darker green, maybe the green I used for the Christmas tree, and I'm going to try and find a smaller, thinner brush. So you can see not much of a difference, but there's a little bit of a difference in the thickness in the brush. And going with the green that I used for the Christmas tree for my bottom, and I'm just going to go over the top and fill in any spots where I can see the white line with this colour. Now I didn't choose this as the base colour because it wasn't going to stand out, but when you sort of put it on top of the other greens, it kind of doesn't matter. Also, I'm not that fussed if I can see little bits of the white line, really. Okay. Paint's drying a little bit, so it's a bit blobbier, so I just can lift off. And I think I'm just going to get this colour and just do a little thing like this down the bottom, just to give the illusion of it being sort of tied together. Okay. Okay, so while my wreath is drying, I'm going to move back to this one. This is why I work on more than one decoration at once. Usually if I'm doing this for the stalls, the little ones I showed you at the beginning, the whole desk would be filled with Christmas decorations that I was working on simultaneously, just because you can move quickly between each one. So what I've got here is gesso, and gesso is a surface prep, but I kind of use it as sometimes I use it as white paint, because I actually like the the way it moves around the paper, but I'm going to use it as an undercoat or a primer for my baubles that I painted over on the Christmas tree. And the reason I painted over it was because I wanted to have the Christmas tree have a uniform sort of brush look. I didn't want it to sort of rise up where I'd gone around the baubles. So I'm just going to use my gesso to put in where I sort of want the baubles. Not that you can see where I had them before, I'll just sort of make it up. I'm going to do all different sizes, but I think I'm going to do the baubles in all one colour. I think that looks nicer. Okay, maybe a few smaller ones. There we go. I wonder if my tree needs a star. Might need to think about that a little bit. Okay, so while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'll move on to the other one. Okay, so I want to put a quote on this one similar to this, where I've written a quote from a famous Christmas song, but because in our house one of our favorite Christmas movies is The Nightmare Before Christmas, I actually want to put a Jack Skellington quote. So I've got a few here, quite a few of them. They're probably too long for it, but I think I'm going to go for the song where he goes into Christmas Town and he's like, what's this, there's colour everywhere. Anyway, sorry, won't sing again. So I'm going to do this one where there's white things in the air. And so how I've done it is I've just sort of sketched it out how I'm going to put it in the tree, because what I'm going to do is use the gesso again to undercoat spots on the tree, where I'm then going to come in with a waterproof pen and handwrite the actual quote on the tree. Okay, so I'm just going to put that there, so I've got a guide. I actually think that brush might be too fat, so let me get a skinnier version of that, if I can use both. Okay, so the trick is, when I'm actually writing it, is to make sure that I fit it into the space that I've allocated for that part of the quote. But I'm kind of worried about that after. When you're writing it, worry about it then. So you can have all the sort of the spaces going one way, but I like to mix it up a little bit. Okay, so that's what's this, and then the next one's going to be there. There is. And I sort of want to make, actually I want to make that bigger. So I'm going to make this next one quite big. actually, I was going to put white things, one line, but I might do white and then things here. In my head, as I'm doing this, I'm sort of writing it as well, because I'm going to use different styles of writing for each section. So what's this? There's white things. Now in the and okay, what's this? There's white things in the, and then we'll do air quite big too. Cool. Okay, back to this one. I'm going to do aqua, quite bright aqua baubles for my tree. Sometimes I get paralyzed by color choice because I just have so many colors, but it's also sometimes easier just to stick with what you love. So we're sticking with what I love today. But if you're painting along and joining in, feel free to, absolutely feel 100% free. I shouldn't even have to say it really. I shouldn't say it. Just choose whatever colors you want. Okay, set that one aside. I'm just going to check. It's still tacky, but it probably needs another little bit, another layer. So just put another layer of gesso over the top, just because I want it to sort of stand out. Okay, so I'm going to write the quote on this one. I'm actually using a Uniball pen again. It's a micro. This is a permanent waterproof pen once it dries, and it just writes really nicely on the decorations. So here goes. Okay, so I've run into obviously a problem straight away. My what's this isn't going to fit, so I need to make that bigger. So I also need to let that dry so that I can gesso over the top of it. Okay, so moving on. Okay. Okay, so let's go back with this. I thought I might have been pushing it, but I was hoping. So we're going to go right. And as you can see, it's the gesso, it's not dry enough. I'm impatient. Okay, so I need to let that dry again and properly so I can go over it again. So it doesn't have the black stain in it. So what in the meantime, while I'm waiting, I'm actually going to use my micro pens. I'm going to outline everything else. I'm nearly done, which is kind of cute and cool. So I'll speed this all up. So. Okay, so I'm still waiting for the top of this tree to dry properly before I write on it. So I'm not going to do that. But what I'm going to do now is coat it with a sealer. Usually I'd use a spray varnish, but I used the last of it on my Boo Beasties the other week. So I'm actually going to try, I haven't used this for a while, this water-based finishing varnish. I've used it before on paintings and other bits and pieces. I prefer the spray varnish just because it's quicker. And I find if I don't use waterproof pen on things, it can actually make my artwork bleed a little bit. So I'm just cautiously going to try this because I think it's all waterproof, so it should all be fine. But obviously I don't want my designs to bleed, so I'm just coating it. You can actually water this product down so that it doesn't have such a high gloss, which I quite like about it. But like I said, I haven't really used it for, I don't really varnish my canvases. So you can see there the pen hasn't quite dried properly and it's leaked a little bit, but I'm just going to go in with my brush. Okay, so Kirsten, be gentle. I generally only spray the front, not the back of my tags, because I find people also like writing little notes on the back of their tags, like where they bought it or what year they bought it. You know, maybe they're using it as a little gift tag, so they want to write a little personal note. Okay, so that one's done. Oh, hang on, I've just seen. The good thing with this is you can actually see where you haven't painted or varnished. Oop. Must just be that one corner that hasn't quite dried yet. Okay. And this one should all be okay because I've used just paint. Ah, see, it doesn't quite, no. It's because I haven't let it dry overnight. Okie doke. That's okay, I'll come back when this coat's dry and paint over it. Well, there you go, you learn something. It's not too bad, could have been much, much worse. And the other thing I don't like about it is sometimes my brushes mold, so then I end up with bristles on it. Hence why I use the spray normally. But I didn't get any on my last trip to Bunnings. Rightio, we'll fix that up. And finally, the last thing that we need to do is just get some string or some twine and thread it through our holes, and we've got ourselves a Christmas decoration. So I hope you make your own Christmas tree ornaments. I'd love to see what you create or what you do create. Please feel free to share them with me, either DM or on my Facebook page. Next Saturday, I'm going to do another Christmassy themed paint along with me. I think it's going to have something to do with angels, but could also have something to do with decorating with wee beasties. But come back next Saturday afternoon to find out.